Now we're ready to create geodatabase feature classes and assign domains. And we'll begin by closing the domains view. And then over in the catalog pane, I'm going to right click on the system feature dataset and select new feature class to create my feature class within the system feature dataset. In the create feature class wizard, in the define panel, I'm going to enter the name. We're going to call this routes in title case and accept the default for the alias. And for feature class type, I can choose polygon, line, or point along with some other types of geometry. I'm going to select line geometry. And under geometric properties, I'm going to make sure that M and Z values are unchecked. Go ahead and click next to advance the wizard to the fields panel. I'm going to add a couple of new fields to the routes feature class. So where it says click here to add a new field, I'm going to click on that. And we're going to start with a line text field, so all uppercase line, and then I'm going to select text. And then notice with the line text field highlighted, I can update the field properties below, and I'm going to reset the length from 255 to 1, where it's going to hold R, G, or B, red, green, or blue line. Now I'm going to click here to add a second field, and we're going to call this field all uppercase phase, and we're going to set the data type to short integer or short. And again, I can see the field properties below by selecting whichever field and looking at the field properties below. So they're all set correctly. I'm going to go ahead and click Next to advance the wizard to the spatial reference panel. And notice that the spatial reference is set to WGS 1984 Web Mercator Auxiliary Sphere. And it's read-only, and that's because the system feature dataset is enforcing the coordinate system because we're creating the feature class within the system feature dataset. So go ahead and click Next. You'll advance past the tolerance, resolution, and storage configuration, accepting all the defaults, and then click the Finish button to create the routes line feature class. Once it's created over in the catalog pane, if you expand the system feature dataset, you can see the routes line feature class, and over in the contents pane, you can see the routes line feature layer. Now we also need to create a stops point feature class to locate stops along our route. And so again, we'll start over in the catalog pane by right-clicking on the system feature dataset, selecting new and feature class. And we're going to name our new feature class stops using title case, accept the default for the alias. And for feature class type, we're going to select point and then uncheck M and Z values and click next. And we're going to assign 3 new fields to the stops feature class. So we're going to click here to add a new field. We're going to call it all uppercase stop underscore ID. And we're going to set the data type to short integer. Create a second field, all uppercase line. And again, that's going to be a text data type. We need to reset the length field properties from 255 to 1. And then we're going to add one more field, all uppercase phase, and that's going to be short integer. Go ahead and click Next. We'll see the default coordinate system is assigned from the feature dataset, Web Mercator Auxiliary Sphere, and now I'm just going to click Finish to advance the wizard to the end. That's going to create the stops point feature class that I can see listed in the catalog pane, and over in the contents pane, my stops point feature layer. Now I need to assign my line attribute domain to my line fields. We're going to start with the routes by right-clicking on the routes feature layer in the contents pane and selecting data design and fields. And of course, that's the structure of our routes line feature class. I'm going to go ahead and dock it below. And then I'm going to locate the line field. And then in the domain column, I'm going to click on the empty cell there and assign the line text attribute domain to the line text field. Now I've made changes to the data schema or structure. So on the fields ribbon under manage edits, I need to click on the save button to save changes to my schema. And now I want to assign the line attribute domain to the stops line field as well. So I'm going to right click on the stops feature layer in the contents pane, select data design and fields. And I'm going to repeat the process. In the line field, I'm going to assign the domain to the line attribute domain. and then I need to save changes to my schema. All right, now that I've updated my schema, I'm going to close the Fields view by right-clicking one of the tabs and select Close Tab Group. Now I'm ready to symbolize my map layers. You can see I've got my stops and routes feature layers listed in my contents pane. And if they're not, over in the catalog pane, you can right-click on the system feature dataset and select Add to Current Map, and that'll add both feature classes to your contents pane. Now I need to select the feature layer to which I'm going to update the symbology. In this case, it's stops. And in the context-sensitive feature layer ribbon, I'm going to click on that. And then in the drawing group, I'm going to click on the symbology button to open the stops symbology pane. Over in the stops symbology pane, the primary symbology is set to single symbol where it all draws the same. I'm going to change it to unique values because I want it to draw according to the unique values in the line field. So I need to change field 1 from stop ID to line. And that's going to load the unique values that are restricted by my attribute domain of R, G, and B down below. And then to update a symbol, I need to click on the patch. I'm going to do that for the red symbol. And then in the gallery panel, I'm just going to use circle 1. So I'm going to click on circle 1 and then update the properties. So I'm going to click on the properties panel and switch out the color from a black to a red for a red stop. And I'm going to go ahead and increase the point size from 10 to 12 points. Now I have auto apply enabled. If you don't, then you need to click apply to apply the changes symbology. I like to just enable auto apply so they're automatically applied to my feature layer. I'm going to go ahead and click back to return to the primary symbology pane. Now I'm going to click on the green patch and activate the gallery panel. And again, select circle 1, switch back to the properties panel and update the color as a green and the point size to 12 points. I've auto applied my changes, go back and now click on the blue symbol patch. Again, the gallery panel, select circle 1, properties panel, switch the color to blue. The point size to 12 points. And then I've auto applied my changes. Go ahead and click back. The other thing I want to do is reorder my red, green, and blue. So red's at the top. So I'm going to click on the R there and then click on the up button to move values up. So move R up and then click on the G and move G up. So it's red, green, blue. So I'm starting with my red, which is my primary, and then my green and my blue, which are my phase 2 routes. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and close the symbology pane. I'm ready to update the symbology for my routes feature layer. So over in the contents pane, I'm going to select routes. And then in the context sensitive feature layer ribbon, I'm going to click on the symbology dropdown. And this time I'm going to select unique values. It's kind of a shortcut to go ahead and switch the unique values and then pick the field length. Again, it's the unique values of the line field. So I'm going to select line. And there you can see my R, G, and B lines. Now I'm going to start by symbolizing them all the same by clicking on the More drop-down button and select Format All Symbols. And I'm going to set the line width to 3 points. Let's make sure I apply those changes and then click back. So now all 3 lines have a 3-point line. I'm going to click on the red symbol patch and update the color, utilizing the same red that I used for the red stop. And then click back. And now I'm going to update the green symbol patch as green. Now, these are our phase 2 lines, and so we want to differentiate the symbology from our phase 1 lines. And we can do that by accessing the layers. And what the layers panel is going to allow me to do is to use a dashed line instead of a solid stroke. So I'm going to go to dash effect, expand that. And under dash type, I'm going to select the first dash type. And there you can see my green dashed line. Now I'm going to change the caps and joins, so I square off the caps. So under cap type from round, I'm going to switch it to butt. There, that looks a little better. All right, I'm going to go back, and now I'm going to repeat the same process for the blue line. So I'm going to click on the blue symbol patch, and I need to switch out my color to blue. And then my dash effect to the first dash type. And then, of course, I'm going to change my cap type from round to butt, so it's consistent with the green. All right, I'm going to go ahead and click back on the symbology pane and reorder my lines. And so my red primary phase is listed first, and my green and blue expanded phases are listed second and third. You can see they've reordered in the contents pane as well. So now that I've updated my symbology for my stops and routes, I need to say my ArcGIS Pro project document. I'm going to go ahead and reset my project document by selecting the map view, closing the symbology pane, and now on the quick access toolbar, I'm going to click the Save Project. The next step is to add base map layers that are going to form the location of our route. We first need to zoom in on Austin, Texas, and we'll do that from the map ribbon by using the Explore button. The Explore button allows us to use our mouse to zoom in and zoom out, and we're going to use the mouse wheel to do that. So I'm going to click on the Explore button and then center my mouse over Central Texas and then just roll the mouse. So I zoom in on Austin. If I need to pan around, I can press the mouse wheel down and then move the mouse to pan as well till my area of interest is centered on downtown Austin. Now that I've got my area of interest set, I'm ready to add my base map layers. And so back on the map ribbon in the layer group, I'm going to click on the base map dropdown and switch my default topographic map to my imagery hybrid base map. Now I need to add one more layer. We're going to overlay population density data to ensure our proposed system is serving the most densely populated areas of Austin. And we're going to do that again from the map ribbon. And in the layer group, I'm going to click on the Add Data drop-down button and select Data, which is Add Data. And that's going to open up the Add Data window. And then over on the left side, I want to make sure that I'm within the portal. And then within the portal, I want to select ArcGIS Online. And then in the upper right corner where it says Search ArcGIS Online, I'm going to enter the name of the layer exactly as stated in the statement of work, which is population underscore density underscore block underscore groups underscore Austin underscore MSA, and click enter. And that's going to search ArcGIS Online and locate the layer. I'm going to select the layer so it's listed in the name text box, and then go ahead and click OK. And that's going to add the raster layer group from ArcGIS Online to my contents pane. And if I expand that, you can see that I've got two different layers, both my 2023 population density that shows my less populated and my more populated areas, and my projected 2028 population density that we're going to use when we plan our extended lines later. All right, so now that I have added my base map layers, I'm going to go ahead and reset my map view and save my ArcGIS Pro project document.